Hi, I'm JJ. Welcome or welcome back. So this was a Don't Take Reading Too Seriously tag created by Mike at Bibliophile Reads, and I was tagged by him. So it's, oh wow, it's got quite a few prompts. I forgot. I did actually write some answers here, so it's not going to be completely off the cuff, but here they are. What's a book you read purely for fun with zero pressure? Most of the books that I read, I choose my books based on my own personal preferences. I guess the only times that's different is if it's a book club book, and sometimes if they pick one that I don't want to read, I just don't read that one. So I always read what I want. There's life is too short to not read things that you enjoy. Number 2, what's a lowbrow or easy book you genuinely loved? Well, I don't know. I read children's books, middle grade books, YA books. I guess a lot of people would consider those lowbrow or easy, but I get a lot of joy out of those. Especially, I've been reading a lot of those that are more diverse, seeing what kids are allowed to read these days that I didn't have access to as a kid. But also, there's a lot of times I'm trying to read for reading around the world with a lot of different authors from all the different countries, and I can't always find them easily accessible. But for some reason, a lot of them I find are YA or middle grade books, which is pretty excellent, I think. So that would be my answer there. If I think of specific ones, I'll give some recommendations in the notes. But basically, if I'm talking about it, I liked it, and I'm already telling you about it. So, number 3, what's a genre you used to take too seriously? Classics. So I have never been very good at non-literal things. In school and stuff, I didn't always get all the like huge themes or the literary devices that were used, and so I was always kind of scared to read the classics, so I just put a bunch of them off. But then when I realized that I could just read them for fun and for my own enjoyment, and not to try to get something bigger out of it, I realized that I do make my own connections, and maybe they weren't what the author intended, or maybe I need to delve a little bit more into the context. But it's okay if I miss a lot of those devices that they thought that they were being smart by including. I'm still getting enjoyment and depth out of the books, so I don't have to avoid them. I can just read them the way that I choose to read them. Number 4, what helped you realize reading doesn't have to be that serious? And I guess that's kind of the same answer. When I first read The Count of Monte Cristo and The Picture of Dorian Gray, they were excellent books, and I realized that like it doesn't have to be all about these literary devices that I was scared of as a teenager, that it can just be pure enjoyment. Number 5, what's a book you DNF'd and felt good about putting down? Well, when I do choose to not finish a book, I've never felt bad about it. I don't even have a list to say because I never think of them again. That's how much I was not into them, and don't regret it at all. Number 6, do you track your reading? Why and why not? Or why not? I do. I use Storygraph. I do think I have the link for my page on my profile page, but I track it just so I know what I've read. I don't want to, I read so much, and I don't want to think if I don't remember a book or something, it's usually one that I didn't overly enjoy. But there are a lot of books, especially I do read some queer romance and stuff, and a lot of them kind of end up, getting all jumbled together. So I don't want to read the same book So I track it for that reason. Number 7, what's a reading rule you've completely let go of? Having a proper TBR, or books, or I don't go by the books I want to read each year. Like, I don't have a set number of books I have to reach. I just read what I want to do. That way I don't feel obligated. I'm not rushing to read more, or I don't feel bad about reading shorter books, because I read all genres and all age groups and stuff. So I know a lot of people, as they're rushing at the end of the year, get shorter books and stuff. But why not read them just to read them because they're great books, instead of feeling like you have to read them just to match a number. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. Number 8, what kind of books do you turn to when you get burned out? That's when I read a lot, comics, graphic novels, manga. That's when I'll read my queer romances, or a bunch of YA or middle grade books, just to kind of let my mind ease up a little. Not that all of the YA books I choose are usually have a lot of depth, but the ones that are, just typical, you kind of know where they're going type of story, gives my brain a little break. Number 9, what's one way you made reading more enjoyable for yourself? BookTube. It's been more enjoyable being able to discuss what I love with each other, having discussions about books in general, reading with groups and having a discussion as we're all reading the same thing. That's all been much more enjoyable for me. I hope that I've made that a little bit more enjoyable for you as well. Number 10, do you reread books, and does that ever feel unproductive? Well, since I don't read to get a number in or for others, and I read primarily for myself, I don't care about unproductivity. And I do reread because just like the old saying, when a man steps in the river, it's never the same man, and it's never the same river. We are changed by the books that we read and by life experiences. And when we reread that book, we're in a different place, and we're coming at it with different eyes. So it's not really even rereading the same book. You're just delving more deeply into a book that you're already familiar with, is how I see it. So I absolutely do reread books. Sometimes I've read them multiple times. Sometimes if it's a comfort book, I'll read it, every year or something like that. But also, as I'm starting, reading the classics and stuff, I didn't fully appreciate some of them. And now that I've gone back and reread them, I've learned other people's points of view. I've had discussions about them. I've learned more about the author or about the context in which the book was written. And I have all that extra experience, and my evolution is my own person to take into that new reading experience and journey. And I absolutely have found it really rewarding to revisit books. Sometimes it's a bit disappointing when you're revisiting a favorite book and it ends up not being a favorite anymore, or it lets you down, but that just shows how much more you evolved as a person. So I feel like you're getting something out of it either way. Number 11, what's something about your reading taste that's completely yours? That is my eclectic tastes. I read what I'm fixated on, what I find personally fascinating, the things that I want to enjoy, all the rabbit holes and stuff that I'm traveling down, all the ways I see that they're connected and want to kind of find more connections, like all, not just what I'm consuming, but how and why I'm consuming it is all completely me. And I think that that's what makes us all, our tastes unique, even if we're reading the same things, because we're taking a different approach to reading them. Number 12, what would you say to someone who feels like they're doing reading wrong, that there is no wrong way to read? If you're reading at all, you're reading it the right way. So that's all I have to say about that one. And that's the end of the prompts. So thank you, Mike, for creating this tag and for tagging me. I always, as I said, enjoy your discussions and stuff that you bring to YouTube. So thank you for that. And thank you for watching. And as always, have a great day and happy reading.